Hey guys, Paul from Ashen Phoenix. New comic book day here at the comic book store for the week of October 5th. And we're going to get started right now. But before we do, last week we had a giveaway. The winner of that giveaway is going to get a free copy of Black Panther, the trade issue #1. And that winner is Wonky Ninja. Make sure you send us your address and we will mail this out to you. So congratulations again. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of this video so that way you can see what's in store for next week's giveaway. So we're going to get started. First up, we have Champions, issue #1 from the now Marvel, now whatever the renumbering system is. It's technically #1. It actually is #1, but a lot of your Marvel titles will have #1s on them, even though they're not actually #1. Basically just a clever marketing gimmick for Marvel to make money without pissing everybody off by restarting all their numbers. Champions is a little bit tough because this actually picks up after Civil War is done. And we still have 2 more issues left. It was backed up, and as a result, Marvel is just like, nah, we don't need to worry about the end of Civil War. We'll just keep on plowing ahead as if nothing happened. Which just goes to show special events are worthless because they're just going to keep on going with what they want to do anyway. But anyway, Champions #1 picks up after the events of Civil War. Several of your younger Avengers have quit. They're going to go start their own thing. They literally took their ball and went home. I wish I could say I loved it. It got entirely too political. It got very kind of preachy, especially towards the end. I did like the art. The art and the writing were great. If you can get by the sermon style talking, especially towards the end of the comic. Humberto Ramos does a great job. Mark Waid does an average job. Like I said, I mean, he would have done better, but it's basically just very preachy at the end. If you're a fan of Kamala Khan, if you're a fan of Miles Morales, if you're a fan of Totally Awesome Hulk...
Sorry.
I was waiting for that because like, Tim just can't handle it because he's such a fan of Totally Awesome Hulk.
Ooh.
So much of a fan that they don't even order it in the store.
No.
It's that cool. So yes, so if you are a fan of these people, pick it up. If you're not a fan of it, you can really pass because nothing is going to happen in this book that is really going to affect anything until, of course, the next stupid crossover. So yeah, take it or leave it. I'm leaving it. I'm done.
Alright guys, Tim from Capes and Scowls. First let me say thank you to Al for letting us use the comic book store, right? This place is awesome. And also thank Kyle Starks for coming out on our sale. He's pretty awesome. Did you all come in and buy Sexcastle? I think you did, because I sold a lot of them. Thank you for that. We're starting with Eclipse. Now you may remember I reviewed this last week. It's still pretty good. It wasn't as good as the first issue, but it wasn't bad. A lot of setup in this issue. You figure out a little bit more of who the villain is, but you don't find out how the villain is, because this is that book about the solar flare that burned everybody on the sun, on the surface of the Earth, and now everybody kind of lives underground. The villain was revealed at the end of the last issue to be able to be in direct sunlight and not burn. They reinforced that in this issue, but they don't explain too much about it. It's kind of interesting that issue 2 is kind of a filler issue, but it is a pretty good book. The art's still okay. The story is what really drove me to it. There is a fan art contest. If anybody wants to do that, there you go. You could win things. You like things.
Next up, we have Death of X. This is the Cataclysmic series. It's a 1 of 4. Basically going to be the end of the X-Men. This book is shit. It just really is. There's no point to it. If you've been reading Marvel for the last year, you already know what everything's happening. This is literally just a cash grab. I can't say anything good about this book. The art is at best. You just get to see one of your favorite guys die at the very beginning for no particular reason, because we already know that the Terrigen gas is killing all the mutants. And it's just not good. I don't know where the rest of the series are going. I might pick up the other 3 issues just to see how badly this goes and tell you guys to not buy it. But if you want to pick it up, if you're a fan of the X-Men, you might want to look at it just for curiosity. But I don't care too much about it. Again, like it's a rehash. Like it's not even a rehash. We already know what the hell's going on, and we already know how this is going to ultimately end. So it's a pointless 4 issues. Pick it up if you want. I'm not.
All right, people, we're going to do Cage. Marvel Now Cage #1. This is one of those Marvel Now books. It's actually a #1. It's a mini-series. It's written by the guy whose name I can never pronounce, Gendy Tartakovsky, the person who did Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack, and that's why Cage looks this way. If you like his art style, you're already down for this. The book is pretty good. It is 70s Cage. It takes place in the 70s. It brings back a lot of these old school Cage villains that nobody knew about until a certain Netflix series came around. It's an interesting book. It's almost borderline offensive, I feel, at times. Like, some of the references are a little off, I think. I don't know. You tell me what you think. It's accurate to 70s Harlem, I suppose, but I think with his art style, it's the way certain African-American characters are drawn are almost offensive. I don't know. Maybe I misread this, but the story's okay. It's trying to be humorous, like most of his stuff, but this wasn't amazing. It's definitely a nice little extra thing to have on your lap when you're watching Netflix, which is better. But if you like 70s Luke Cage, you would like it. I'm not going to read it anymore. So,
last up, we have a pair of comics. We're doing Batman issue #8 and Nightwing issue #6. The reason I'm doing both of these together is it's a continuation of a series called Night of the Monsters. And this is the first big DC crossover that we're having. It's going through most of the Batman titles. We're not going through All-Star Batman, but we are going through Batman, Nightwing, and Detective Comics. Basically, if you've been following along or if you've read these, because this is actually the 3rd week of this series, because as you know, DC Rebirth does bi-weekly printings. Hugo Strange has basically reanimated several people, and they are wreaking havoc as giant monsters in Gotham. Think Godzilla, think Pacific Rim, whatever you want to think. It's kind of like that. So we're picking everything up. I don't want to spoil too much for you, especially if you haven't picked up the series. The writing is good. The art is a little jarring because I'm used to the great art that is in Detective Comics, and it doesn't necessarily follow into Batman and Nightwing as much as everything else. The writing is solid throughout, so if you're a fan of the series and if you're looking to see how things are going, I would pick these up. If you're a fan of Detective Comics, definitely pick these up, because the way things have been added into this series is just beautiful. Like I said, I've always loved the Detective Comics series from the beginning of this Rebirth, because you get to see a lot of the ancillary characters that you missed from before the New 52, and this just picks up with more of that. So definitely, this is definitely going to be the only recommendation I have this week. Definitely pick up Batman, definitely pick up Nightwing, not necessarily for the art, but definitely pick it up because, just like you, I'm a fan of the Detective Comics series, and I want to see how this ends.
Alright, so it's been a downer week. We've had lots of crummy books, but don't you worry, I was super surprised that this book is awesome. He-Man Thundercats #1. I said, these two properties don't belong together, they're just toy lines from the 80s. Even though they were good toy lines, they were never really amazing cartoons or properties. Yes, I know that sounds like sacrilege to some of you, but go back and watch it. It's kind of terrible. But this book takes those two properties and makes it make sense that they would interact with each other. It focuses on Mumra getting defeated by the Thundercats, and all the evil spirits are like, hey, Mumra, you kind of suck. Why haven't you been able to do this? We give you so much power. Well, you suck. We're going to tell you, your basic plot is this. They're going to take Mumra. They're going to go and bring Eternia, where He-Man is, to him. And he's going to get the sword from him, the Sword of Omens. Or no, that's the Thundercats sword. The other sword. And they're going to get a sword equal to Lion-O so he can defeat him. Of course, everything goes to shit. We're cursing, right? Everything goes to shit. And I was very happy with how the book turned out. I don't want to give too much away. The art is gorgeous, and the writing shocked me. This book you would imagine, would only be for the fans of these properties, and I think they're both okay properties. This book was great. Who knew? So check this out. I think it's going to be like a 3-issue mini or something. Pretty good. He-Man Thundercats. Oh.
So because we're a little short-staffed this week, there isn't going to be a recommendation for a trade because we just read a lot of comics this week to kind of pick up the slack. So this week's giveaway, now you could have given me a drum roll. There we go. That's the...
I'm not looking at you, I'm reading.
That's the...
What are you doing?
That's the stop.
Yeah? I think we should really just talk to each other about what we're going to do.
Yeah, I know. Well, surprisingly, a lot of this is not going to get edited out because I think some of it's just funny, just like the banter back and forth.
You're wrong, but go on.
Well, we find it really funny.
Yeah, I guess.
This week, you are going to be picking up a signed and remarked copy of Sexcastle from Kyle Starks. If you're a fan of every 80s action movie, this book is for you. If you're a fan of the writing of Rick and Morty, definitely pick this up. And it is going to be a one-of-a-kind because, like I said, it is signed by Kyle Starks himself. For those of you who missed the sale this weekend, you missed a great one at the comic book store. To enter, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to Capes and Scowls, like this video, and then comment on a recommendation that you have followed through on, and we will pick a winner at random. So, again, have a great weekend, everybody, and definitely pick up some comics.